What do we have today? Oh, no. No. That's it. I'm not doing that. Oh, I'm probably gonna need some drinks for this one. Now, woke biologists claim systemic racism is driving animals out of deprived areas as they ditch poor ethnic neighborhoods in favor of wealthier white districts. A study suggests woodland creatures are less likely to be present in minority neighborhoods where there is less greenery and less wood. I wonder why there is less woodland creatures there. And the disappearance is having negative impacts on humans. Pressing extra doubt. Report says systemic racism has had long-lasting effects on the structure of cities due to policies in the past that produced racially segregated neighborhoods. Data sees clear link between diversity of wildlife and the racial composition of neighborhoods, with higher number of species in mainly white areas. Funny that I see a clear link between greener suburban areas and financial responsibility than I do systemic racism because I'm not a pathetically desperate grifting fucking idiot. Scientists claim that there are fewer wild animals in neighborhoods where mostly people of color live, and their absence is affecting residents' mental health. The urge to make racist jokes are so overwhelming. A research study that looked into the genetic diversity of wildlife in neighborhoods across the United States found government rules that previously mandated separated neighborhoods based on race is still having lingering after effects on where animals choose to live decades on. The study suggests that areas where mostly white people live have a greater diversity when it comes to animals living in the area. Yet because they live in suburbs, not the cities, where the only animals are rodents and their fellow citizens. Gives you somewhat of an indication of where my untold joke was going to go. Areas with less diversity could also be having negative effects on both the mental and physical health of the people who live in such deprived neighborhoods. That is such a cope. Yeah, I'm sure it's a lack of diversity that's causing such problems. It's funny you find other areas that are more homogeneous of a certain demographic and they don't have any of these problems. Wonder why that is. The findings were published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, a peer-reviewed scientific journal. I suspect this rag is not fit enough to wipe my shiny metal ass with. It noted that the practice of redlining essentially drove out woodland creatures from minority neighborhoods, leading to negative effects on the mental and physical well-being of minority residents. Yeah, I'm sure. Redlining is a discriminatory practice in which financial institutions, insurance companies, and other businesses draw lines on a map and define areas where they will or will not provide services such as mortgages, insurance, or loans. The practice was most commonly used in the 20th century and was based on racial and ethnic discrimination. Yeah, and I'm sure there were no other factors or variables coming into play at all. Redlining resulted in a lack of investment and neglect in minority neighborhoods, leading to persistent poverty and limited access to financial services and investment. Although redlining was banned in the United States by the Fair Housing Act of 1968, its legacy continues to shape urban landscape and communities today. Okay, let's try and walk a tightrope here, shall we? Stereotypes exist for a reason, people. You know it, I know it, and everyone else knows it as well. It's because they're based on an element of truth. So say you were working at a financial institution and you were going to lend money. And you were looking at things like crime stats, demographics, social behavior standards, academic scores, family structure, thriftness, fiscal responsibility. And you had 4 people in front of you: black, white, Asian, Jew. Rank those in order you would most likely lend money to. Yeah, exactly. Banned in 60, but its effects are still felt over half a century later. Methinks it might have a bit more nuance to it than simply blame government. University of Manitoba biologists Colin Garraway and Chloe Schmidt from the German Center for Integrative Biodiversity Research conducted the wildlife study and found that systemic racism has had lasting effects on the structure of cities. The author explains that various factors, such as densely populated areas, the presence of roads and railways, nighttime lights, and increased human land use, may contribute to the lower diversity of wildlife in non-white neighborhoods. You could have just started this entire article with that and then just nothing for the rest of it, because that explains everything right there. Because again, no shit, animals live where there is greenery, suburbs, not the cities. Duh! The fact that people of color don't live there is not the fault of systemic racism, it's because they suck at finance and make bad life decisions. The pair analyzed publicly available archived genetic data from thousands of animals belonging to various species in order to show the connection between the diversity of wildlife and the racial makeup of neighborhoods. Oh, here we go. Now they're going to somehow contradict their own argument, avoid their own point, and somehow make it sound like the animals are the racist ones. It found that there is far greater diversity of species in predominantly white neighborhoods. Again, suburbs, more greenery, less population density. The authors of the study claim that systemic racismus has effectively altered the demography of urban wildlife populations in a way that shapes their evolution and impacts their presence in cities. or, maybe try and follow me on this one, you destroyed their homes and so they buggered off to greener pastures. Quite literally. The pair argue, very poorly in my opinion, that the lack of urban biodiversity has resulted in a negative impact on human well-being, leading to a complete absence of nature in neighborhoods that are predominantly non-white. I wonder if various criminal activities, lack of business opportunities, and education and cleanliness are perhaps more impactful than thinking white people are essentially old Disney movie characters. The report calls for reforms to be made in city planning in the hopes a more equitable distribution of natural habitat will also lead to increased racial diversity. I want to know how the hell what you just said makes any kind of fucking sense. The authors also suggest the need for increased racial diversity in the fields of ecology and evolution to address such blind spots, also known as complete bollocks, in research and environmental justice. That sentence right there, for heaven's sake, most of the article, nay, leftism in general, is just endless streams of verbal diarrhea. And that is all for today. Thank you all for watching, and stay safe out there. It's going to get worse.